Ava Zubek describes herself as a feral woman, an adventurer and survivalist known for living out of a tent and pushing herself through extreme camping and wilderness challenges, frequently filming solo. In a video posted on November 13th, 2024, she described something that broke through the control she normally holds onto while camping alone on her own remote mountain property with no path leading in from anywhere.
A man that I don't know appeared on my property, and he turned to me and he said, "Oh, finally I found you. I've been looking for you." This is a man that I don't know, that I didn't invite here, that I didn't want here, who came here all on his own to my private property in the mountains where there is no obvious path that leads here. He made his way up the hills and through the freaking forest to find me, uninvited. To find a woman who's camping on her own, on her private property. To find her and do what exactly? I was shocked. I was shocked and immediately felt so vulnerable and so scared. I immediately told him that this is my private property and that I'm not looking for guests. I took my axe and I went inside my tent with Vilk. This is not the first time that something like this has happened.
A man she'd never seen before showed up on her land and turned to face her, saying, "Oh, finally I found you. I've been looking for you." He'd hiked up through the hills and forests specifically to reach her, a woman camping alone on private property with no obvious way to get there, uninvited. She told him immediately that this was her land and she wasn't hosting anyone, grabbed her axe, and went into her tent with her dog Yoke. She mentioned this wasn't the first time she'd dealt with something like it. He hung around for a while, drifting around slowly before finally heading off, but even once he was gone from view, she couldn't shake the fear that he was still somewhere close, watching.
It's a really terrifying experience when men that you don't know seek you out and you don't know what their intentions are.
I drive over to your friends, just park for the night or somewhere else, go back in the morning to clean up stuff.
Yeah, that's probably wise.
It's especially earlier than later. It's not fun. It's fucking convenient as fuck. But like if we're just trying to play risk management with a situation where you have a bunch of unknowns, you don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
He says he's visiting. It could be another weirdo that's coming to look for stuff. So like we just don't know.
Yeah.
Comes up with beers.
Yeah.
So he starts drinking and thinks, I'll go back.
Yeah, that's true. I don't really know what to do, but my friend's telling me to go down to the car and spend the night in the car. Vilk is looking pretty alert. Normally he's already sleeping at this point. And I kind of don't want to leave the tent here, but I think I'd be able to fall asleep here tonight, honestly. Because I don't know. People drink, people get stupid ideas in their heads. It's so dark, I don't want to go through the forest in the dark. But I don't feel safe here right now. My gut's telling me to go. So, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take some luggage. I'm gonna go to sleep in the car. But the craziest thing about all this is that I know for a fact that there are wolves in these forests right now, as we speak. Because I've seen them on my trail cams, because people in the village have lost dogs and sheep just now, this season. And yet I feel like it's safer for me to go down the forest to my car, just to reach my car, than to stay here and face the risk of a strange man.
A friend she talked to afterward framed it as a risk calculation. Too many unknowns about who he actually was or what he wanted, with the added worry that he might come back later in a worse state if he'd been drinking. Her dog stayed on edge far longer than usual, normally already asleep by that hour. She admitted to herself she likely wouldn't manage to sleep in the tent that night regardless. Even knowing wolves were active nearby, she'd caught them on her own trail cameras, and villagers nearby had lost livestock and dogs to them that season. She still decided walking through that forest in the dark to reach her car felt safer than staying and risking another encounter with the stranger. She grabbed some bags and left for her vehicle, sharing real-time location details, map screenshots, or distinct geographical landmarks online allows motivated stalkers to easily triangulate your remote position. If a stranger breaches your property line and reveals they have been actively tracking you, Use aggressive, high-boundary verbal commands to establish space and immediately retreat to a lockable vehicle or populated area. Xander Budnick runs a channel built around off-grid camping experiences and survival experiments in remote wilderness locations. He headed out for a seasonal camping trip in early spring, dealing with rain, heavy snow, and freezing temperatures throughout the day. With barely any trees available at his chosen spot, he put together a tarp frame out of branches he'd gathered, got a fire started, and cooked pizza pockets using flour, mozzarella, green peppers, onions, and tomato sauce, even though the uneven ground made even simple tasks harder than usual.
I'm gonna let the fire settle before I cook the steak. That'll be a better idea. So I'm gonna wait on that. Dough, flour, mozzarella, green pepper, onions, tomato sauce. Let's see how this goes. That'll do. Yep, it worked. That definitely worked. The one side looks really good and then the other side is completely burnt, but the burnt side isn't as bad as it looks.
Knowing bears were beginning to emerge from hibernation and would be looking for food, he made securing his supplies a priority.
So it's getting to be about that time where bears are coming out of hibernation. I'm not exactly sure when they come out, but just to be safe, I'm going to start hanging my food up in trees again, away from camp. So I was going to do that just now, and I attached this long piece of paracord to this log and I hucked it up over a branch. But all the rope came with it, and I thought it wasn't gonna go with it, but it did. And the log got caught about 20 feet off the ground. So I had to spend the next like 5-10 minutes just poking it out with a stick. I feel a little bit goopy, but hey, I got it back, and we're ready to give it another attempt at a different location. Hopefully not getting it stuck this time. Not getting it stuck this time though. So we got a line hung on that branch just back there. It's about 20 feet up. When I'm ready to go to bed and done with all my food and dishes. Today was supposed to rain all day, but it looks like it's not gonna rain. I checked the weather radar again. Looks like I'm right in this clear patch between two systems. So I'm right in the sweet spot to miss it. I see lightning far off in the distance over here. And every time I check the weather, it's showing me that there's less and less chance of it raining today. Great, but not great.
His first attempt at hanging it went sideways. He tied paracord to a log and slung it over a branch, but the whole log went up with the rope and got stuck roughly 20 feet in the air. He spent the next several minutes fishing it back down with a stick before trying again somewhere else, this time getting it properly secured about 20 feet up without incident. He'd braced for rain all day based on the forecast, but checking the radar again, he realized he was sitting right in a gap between two weather systems, watching lightning flicker somewhere far off. By evening, food handled and gear set, he settled in for the night expecting rain that never showed. Once he'd fallen asleep, sharp, piercing cries suddenly cut through the darkness surrounding his camp, snapping him fully awake. Whatever was making that noise stayed hidden completely, the sound itself unfamiliar enough, almost unnatural, that he had no way to pin down what it was or how near it might actually have been. He got through to morning without further incident. Looking back on it, he called it a great trip overall. Better weather than expected and no bugs to deal with. Though managing food around bears just out of hibernation, hungry after months without eating, had clearly stuck with him through the night.
Trip. So I was anticipating rain this whole time, but what we got was just perfect hiking and camping weather. There's no bugs still. Bears are just coming out of hibernation, so I have to deal with the food, and that's an added little bit of discomfort because I don't know how bears act in early spring, especially when they're coming out of hibernation super hungry. I know when I wake up in the morning, I'm a hungry boy, so I don't know what a bear's like after they come out of a 3, 4, 5 month hibernation period. Hopefully the bear would.
Early spring camping requires strict scent management. If aggressive or unidentifiable nocturnal cries surround your camp, remain completely inside your shelter with your deterrents ready. Do not venture out into the pitch black where your visibility is compromised and wildlife behavior is unpredictable. Mary runs Maximalist Minibus, a channel where she shares her outdoor life pretty openly, splitting her content between work, the outdoor activities she enjoys, and life around the campground. By her own account, she's someone who puts things off, and the solar trail camera she owned had sat unused for over a year simply because it needed a specific SD card size, a maximum of 32 megabytes, and she never had one small enough on hand. A Walmart run finally fixed that. She set the camera on the footstool she always kept outside her tent overnight, positioned right beside the bus. Not the most interesting angle, she figured, but fine enough to test whether the thing even worked.
I've had this camera for at least a year, maybe more, probably, maybe even 2 years. It's a trail cam with a little solar panel on the top, and, you know, it has its own power and everything. And I searched for it because I wanted one that had its own power so I could put it anywhere. Didn't have to worry about whether I have power there. And it has the solar panel, and then it also has inside this little door, it has battery backup. You're supposed to put batteries in it, which I haven't done yet. Surprise, surprise. But anyway, the batteries are like C batteries, or, oh no, actually, you know what? It's 4 AA's. So I gotta get AA batteries, but it works without it. So I should still be able to set it up. But the reason I haven't set it up is because it takes an SD card, and I have SD cards, but they're, you know, I don't have any this small. It only takes it can only be a maximum 32 megabyte SD card. So I've had it on my list on and off forever to buy a card for this thing. And finally, I was at Walmart and I remembered. So I got an SD card. So now tonight I can set this up. I'm going to put the camera on this little footstool that I always put in front of my tent when I close it up for the night. It's basically just shooting right next to the bus. Probably not the most exciting place to put the camera. Probably should put it over by the creek. But for the first night, I don't even know if it's set up right. So I'm just going to leave it here.
A trip to Walmart finally solved it. That night, she decided to finally get it set up. She placed it on the small footstool she always put out in front of her tent when closing up for the evening. Her plan going in was modest. She expected maybe some footage of raccoons poking around or a deer wandering through overnight. The next morning, something felt off. The tent was unzipped in a way she hadn't left it, opened from the top down as though someone had deliberately worked their way in rather than it coming loose on its own. She nearly let it go without a second thought. Then she remembered the camera.
In the first part, it shot at like 8:30, and it just got like some campers walking to the restroom, but then nothing until 2:30. And then at 2:30, you should see these headlights. So it looks like the car's coming from around, like maybe either somebody drove in and they're turning around right now, or I don't know. Or, I don't think it's a camper, but, so the headlights come this way, and then it's a pickup truck that goes by. I don't recognize it. It could belong to a camper, could belong to somebody in the cabins up the road, but I know most of those cars. It's not a vehicle I recognize. Let's start with that. But right after it goes by, keep your eye on this over here. Okay, there. There he is. You see him? He's got glasses on that are shining. He's got on a baseball cap. It looks like he might have a goatee. And here he comes. He walks across. See, he's got a trash bag, it looks like. And I thought at first he had a backpack on, but you'll see in a minute it's not a backpack. So he walks by. And then it missed the first part of him, but then he comes back with a flashlight and he's coming around, like I have a table over here with a bunch of stuff on it. He's coming around probably checking out what's on that table. I think okay, now look, here he comes. Now he's shining the flashlight in through the mesh of the tent, trying to see what's inside the tent. And you can see like his pants are all kind of frayed and everything, but he leaves again. He walks by and he's going like probably over to the golf cart to see what's in the golf cart, because the golf cart's parked in front of the bus. And then he goes around. I think he must probably go around the bus and come back again, because give it a second, he's going to come back. There he goes, coming back around for another chance. And this time he's not going to just look inside the tent. This time, yeah, give him a second. There he goes. He's coming right to the tent. And look at this. He moves the camera. I mean, he moves the camera. I guess he doesn't know it's a camera, but he moves the steps with the camera so that he can unzip the tent and get inside. And then he's inside the tent for all. You can hear him plunking around, moving things, stuff like that, moving stuff around. And then the movement stops, so the camera kind of stops recording.
Going through the footage, the first stretch showed nothing of note. Just some campers walking to the restroom around 8:30 p.m. Nothing again until 2:30 in the morning. At that point, headlights appeared, and for a moment, it looked like it might just be someone turning their car around in the lot. But it turned out to be a pickup truck she didn't recognize at all. Right after it passed, someone stepped into frame. He had glasses that caught the light, a baseball cap.
You can hear him still, but you can't see him. There he goes. Now he comes out. He's got that jug of water, which I think he had going in, but he's got a trash bag, and he's wearing a trash bag. It's not a backpack. But it was pouring rain last night, so I can understand why he'd have something to protect him from the rain. But that's it. That's the whole thing. So I've been looking around trying to figure out what he took, but I can't really find anything. I mean, the most obvious thing would have been this tablet. I mean, I don't leave my laptop in here, so tablet would have been the next best thing. He didn't take it. Then again, it's kind of old school. Maybe he's an electronic snob. I don't know. My printer's here. This is a good printer. He didn't take that. Umbrella lights, solar umbrella lights. Those would probably be good if you were camping or something. Maybe, I don't know. He didn't take them. Ryobi charger would only be good if you had Ryobi tools. Elvis glasses. Yeah, all this stuff is still here. Oh, my hummingbird feeder is still here. He didn't take that. And this is, remember I told you I had a cute squirrel feeder? This is it. It's not assembled yet. Surprise. But I do have a toolbox in here, and it's got a lot of small tools, you know, things that he could have taken either to use or to sell. Things with some value, and he didn't take those either, so I don't know. It doesn't really look like he took anything. So I don't really even know why he was here.
Reviewing her belongings afterward, Mary went through everything trying to work out exactly what he'd taken. Her tablet, sitting right there, arguably the most obvious and valuable thing to grab since she doesn't keep her laptop in the tent, was untouched, though she joked he might just be something of an electronic snob about it. Her printer, which she noted was a genuinely good one, was still there. Her solar umbrella lights, useful gear for anyone camping rough, untouched. A Ryobi charger, only really valuable to someone who already owned Ryobi tools, left behind. Her glasses, her hummingbird feeder, and an unassembled squirrel feeder she'd shown in an earlier video. None of it gone. Even her toolbox, packed with small tools that carried real value either to use or resell, was completely untouched. The only things that ended up missing were hand sanitizer, rubbing alcohol, and toilet paper. Basic, low-value items. She admitted she couldn't really figure out why he'd been there at all, since it didn't look like he'd taken anything of substance. It started to paint a picture that this wasn't a break-in driven by greed. This looked far more like someone living rough in the woods nearby, getting by on whatever he could find. Mary was left sitting with two feelings at once, unsettled by the violation of her space while she'd been asleep just feet away, but also an unexpected, quiet empathy. Why hadn't he just knocked and asked? And if he had, would anyone have actually helped him? No real harm came of it in the end, but the discomfort of it lingered. Even out in the stillness of nature, she noted, you are never truly alone. Always lock your tent zippers from the inside. Thread a small locking carabiner, heavy-duty twist tie, or lightweight luggage lock directly through the double zipper eyelets before sleeping. This completely stops an outsider from silently sliding the mesh open from the exterior, forcing loud, disruptive movements that will instantly wake you. Gaz runs Grizzly Guys, a channel focused on outdoor adventures, gear testing, and nights spent camping in the British countryside. On October 30th, 2022, he headed out for what was meant to be a calm night at a spot he'd used before, planning to try out a new one-wind tarp hammock and quietly look into some odd things he'd noticed there on past visits. With his dog Fenzel along, he first walked through the layout of his campsite, pointing out the steep banking on both sides, a game trail now blocked off by fallen trees, and strange saw marks on a nearby tree someone had clearly tried cutting down. He mounted his trail camera on a tree beside the stream, angled back toward his campsite, then got the tarp and hammock set up before the rain started.
Look how creepy it is in here already. Beautiful, but creepy. Now you see this steep bank in here. My camp is down at the bottom of there, and then there's another steep banking at that side with another path that runs through on top of that ridge up there. Right, so this is where I usually have my hammock set up across here. That's where my tent was last time, down there. But there used to be another tree here somewhere, but I don't know where that's gone. And look, they've been trying to saw that down for some reason. Poor tree. That's where the stream is, where we've come up. That's where the big banking is, where we were before. Up on top of there's a path that runs along top of that ridge. And then all this is pretty enclosed down here, and that's why I like it.
As night settled in and the temperature dropped, the usual forest sounds began changing.
What the fuck? Hello? Sure, I just heard someone whistling. Hello? Fucking birds are going nuts again. At least it's not them blackbirds that are going nuts this time.
Birds started calling out aggressively, not the blackbirds he was used to hearing act up, something else this time. Then a whistle drifted through the trees, thin and sharp, rising and falling in a pattern that had nothing to do with wind or the stream. He called out into the dark. Silence answered back, trying to keep his light use minimal since he'd learned before that any glow down in the ravine could be spotted from the ridge path above.
Sure, I've just heard someone coughing. Let me turn these lights off. And that's how dark it is down here. Pitch black. Crows are going nuts again. Don't really want to use much light because I don't want people to know that I'm here, because you can see when there's light down here, you can see it from up there, because one at times that I were here, I had a fire down here, and then I went for a wander up there, and you could see the fire from up there, so you're going to be able to see lights and stuff down here.
He sat mostly in the dark. That's when the coughing started, close enough to feel near even though nothing was visible within his limited light. He called out several more times, trying to figure out if anyone else was around. Nothing came back.
I'm gonna go grab the trail camera, see if we've got out. Look with that tree. Is that it there? It was falling off. It's a bit strange, isn't it?
Waking early the next morning, he didn't remember any real disturbance overnight. But walking out to retrieve his trail camera, he found it hanging loose, the strap untied, angled differently than he'd left it. Pulling up the footage revealed a figure crouched directly in front of the lens during the night.
Well, that's a fucking bummer, isn't it? Which means they probably aren't caught out. Let's have a look at this thing. What the fuck? Oh, that's creepy. Someone crouching down in front of the camera.
Hard to make out clearly, but close and positioned in a way that ruled out any animal. Shaken by what he saw, Gaz packed his gear quickly and left, unable to shake the feeling that something or someone had been right there with him while he slept. Avoid keeping a bright campfire burning late into the night. The glow acts as a tracking beacon for anyone on nearby ridges while completely destroying your own night vision. If an intruder is detected, extinguish all manual light sources to force them into the dark with you, grab your defense gear, and move away from your static tent to monitor the site from a hidden position. Adam runs the channel Adventures, documenting solo van travel and overnight stays across Europe in his converted van, known as the Pigeon. On December 11th, 2024, he'd originally parked at a different services down the motorway for the night, settling in for what started as a calm, relaxing evening, until around 2 or 3 a.m. when he was half woken from a dream by voices literally about 2 centimeters from his rear doors. He hit the button for his internal CCTV and saw 2 hooded, semi-balaclavaed youths right next to the van.
I do believe it is a Shell garage, which makes me feel like I am right at home. But this services is not where I began my evening last night. I attempted to sleep somewhere else until an incident struck. So I originally rocked up to the previous services down the motorway, and I started to go to bed as usual. In fact, it was a very nice, calm, relaxing evening. Until around about 3 a.m, maybe half 2, something like that. There I was dreaming the most beautiful dream, probably about pita breads and dolphins and all that. And I was awoken, half awoken, I was in a bit of a daze, by some voices that were literally about 2 centimetres away from my back door. Just to clarify, I mean the rear doors on the van. So I hit the button to turn my CCTV on, and what did I see? 2 hooded, semi-balaclavaed youths right next to the van, and they walked around to the side here. Now in my head, I'm thinking, are they going to break into the Pigeon? Are they going to break into the Pigeon? By the way, for those who don't know, my van is called the Pigeon. And I got in my head to the part where I said, are they going to break into? And then I heard them try the door. So in my confused, half asleep state, I just shouted, "Pigeon!" At the same time, I jumped out of bed. I pulled back this curtain, which separates off the cab, so I could see out the windows. And sure enough, right by this door, there were two guys trying to break into my van.
As they walked around to the side, he heard them actually try the door handle. In his confused, half-asleep state, he shouted out loud, jumped out of bed, and pulled back the curtain, separating the cab so he could see out. And sure enough, right by that door, two guys were mid-attempt at getting in.
So that for some reason they've walked up towards the motorway and then they've come back into the service area. Yeah, they're coming directly to my van and they're going round the back of my van. Okay, so this is obviously when I heard their voices. Oh no, they're going straight up to... They're going straight up to my driver's window and they're looking in it. I swear I heard them right behind the van though. So he's staring right in the driver's window, trying to see what he can see. I think he touched something there, did he? Okay, this is the point. So now they've gone round the back of the van. Now remember, at this stage, I'm still fast asleep, right? So let's pull up the back of the van. So enter the thieves around the rear of the van. They take a quick look at the back. One of them's smoking something. Maybe he's innocent. Maybe they were just smoking. I heard them. That's where I heard them talking. And I was sort of in a daze, and I was like, what is going on? They've gone back round to the other side of the van now, so let's pull that camera back up. Actually, no, it definitely wasn't innocent, because I remember I heard them actually touch the handle. Oh yeah, look, there we go. Right, he's bent down there. What's he doing? Yeah, he's trying to do something there. And that was where I shouted, "Pigeon!" Look at that! Right, let's just rewind that again. Right, so he's keeping an eye on that lorry that's leaving, and he's bent down doing something by my van. He must be trying to hide the fact that his hand's like touching the handle. But this is the point where I heard the handle go, and I'm half asleep, and I shout "Pigeon!" and I rush up and I open up this curtain here, and then you can see as soon as I do that, he says something to his mate, and they scupper off. So if we go back to the front camera, we should, yeah, there we go. So that's them. As soon as they know that I'm in the van, they're now just disappearing off into the night as though nothing's happened. And then, oh look, have they stopped? Are they trying a lorry? I know, maybe they haven't. The footage isn't that good quality, obviously, because it's real dark. But I think you can see they are just walking off into the distance.
Reviewing the footage afterward, he traced the whole sequence. The pair had initially walked up toward the motorway before coming back into the service area and heading straight for his van. They went to his driver's window first and stared in. One of them appeared to touch something. Then they moved around to the back where one lit up a cigarette before circling to the side entry point specifically. That's where he could see one of them bent down, deliberately trying to obscure the fact that his hand was on the handle. That was the exact moment Adam shouted and threw back the curtain. The pair immediately said something to each other and took off, though Adam noted afterward it was less of a scarper and more of an unhurried saunter, vanishing into the distance as if nothing had happened. The footage made clear they deliberately ignored the rear doors entirely, instead focusing on the side entry point, suggesting they may have been trying to take the vehicle itself rather than what was inside it. Their attempt only stopped the moment his sudden movement told them the van was occupied. When sleeping inside a vehicle in public rest stops, secure your cabin doors from the inside by looping heavy-duty ratchet straps tightly between your driver and passenger door handles. This mechanical bond holds the entry point sealed even if an outside intruder breaks your lock cylinders or shatters the windows, giving you an impenetrable safety layer. Wandering Wild Things is a UK-based outdoor adventure channel run by a solo female creator who documents her real wilderness trips, rivers, forests, remote camping spots, always with her dogs by her side. Her content leans into practical outdoor life and the unpredictable moments that come up when you're out there alone. On this particular trip, she drove carefully along a muddy track running beside a river before pulling over to survey a potential campsite with her dogs, Olive and Willow. The ground was wet and uneven, and broken glass was scattered across parts of the area. She started picking pieces of it up before Willow beat her to noticing something else entirely.
Okay, what's going on?
She's acting like there's someone over there, but I don't see anything. Shh, and Willow is not the barker. Willow doesn't do this. So if Willow's doing this, something's freaking her out. Hey, Willow, it's okay. Olive's not freaked out though.
Willow suddenly locked onto the tree line and started growling, then barking directly toward the dark brush. It wasn't a random bark. Willow doesn't typically behave that way, which meant something had genuinely caught her attention. The creator stopped immediately and followed her dog's line of sight, trying to work out what had set her off.
Hold on, you guys. Come here. Hey, come here. Come here. You might, if there is someone over there, I wouldn't sneak around. Hey, Willow. Olive, do you see anything? Do you see anything? Who's there? Willow Dean, it's okay, baby. Willow, come here. Willow, what do you see? Come here. Hey. Come here.
She called both dogs closer, telling herself out loud that if someone actually was out there, she wasn't going to try sneaking around to find out. She moved slowly through the campsite, calling Willow back to her side while scanning the tree line, checking behind trunks and along the path for anything that might explain the reaction. Nothing revealed itself. Whatever had triggered Willow so intensely didn't seem to be visible anymore, but the uncertainty stayed heavy over the whole scene.
I don't like this. I don't like it. Is it maybe the horse person that we saw earlier? Willow, come here. Willow, come here. It's okay. It is a road. Come here. Come here, Bibs. Are you okay? What is it? Her hair's not up anymore. Well, it is a little bit. She's acting like someone's around.
Then Willow reacted again, this time pointing toward the opposite direction from before. Following the sound this time led to an actual answer, a small armadillo picking its way through the undergrowth. The tension broke immediately once the source became clear. Nothing more than wildlife moving through the area. With the earlier scare behind her, she finished setting up camp and got food going as temperatures continued to drop. The cold made for an uncomfortable night overall, enough that she eventually brought both dogs into her vehicle to warm up. A faulty heater and awkward sleeping arrangements made real rest difficult, but the three of them made it through without further incident. Camping alone means every minor noise carries massive psychological weight. Trust your dog's sensory alerts, but do not panic or instantly assume a worst-case scenario. Keep a high-lumen tactical flashlight ready to quickly identify shapes in the brush. Keep your animals securely leashed to your person so they don't sprint into danger, and maintain a clear, open perimeter around your tent during daylight so you can easily spot actual threats if they approach.